Good morning, guys. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yeah. My screen is also visible to all of you guys, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, guys, basically today is the first demo session, right? First of all, welcome to this advanced C# online .NET training using .NET 6, right? Or you can say using .NET Core. So basically, what we are going to discuss today. Today, basically, I'm going to give you an overview of our course, right? Overview of our course means what? Now, how the course syllabus is prepared. What are the things we are going to discuss as part of this course, right? That is what we are going to discuss. And then I will take the questions from you guys, right? If anybody having any questions, they can ask me, and I will definitely going to clarify the queries, right? And even if you can also put the question in the chat box. So right, so let us start understanding what are the concept we are going to discuss as part of this training program. So basically this is going to be a 5 months program, and the session, as you already mentioned in the telegram group, it is going to be 3 weekdays and 2 weekend. Apart from Monday and Tuesday, rest 5 days we are having session, right? In weekdays it is going to be 9:30 to 11, right? Sometimes it will be 9:30 to 11:30, and in weekends, right, Saturday and Sunday, it is going to be 7 to 10, and it will be minimum 5 months course. And right, yeah, and the session is going to be conducted through Zoom. I will share the Zoom credential, right? And then once the session is completed, I am going to upload the presentation, right? Whatever the document I'm showing, that document along with the recorded session into the Telegram group. In case you miss the live session, then you can also go through the recorded session. And the recorded session is going to be as it is. I'm not going to edit anything into the recorded session. Whatever the session, right, from the starting to end, including the question and answers, whatever I'm going to take, everything I'm going to put into the Telegram group. So let us first try to understand how the course syllabus is prepared, and then I will take questions from you guys. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. So in this course syllabus, I have divided this course into 25 chapters, right? And let me explain the chapters one by one. First one is introduction and the environment setup, right? So basically, if you are going to learn anything, right, first of all, you need to learn why we are going to learn that thing. So similarly, if you are going to learn C# programming language, then you should know, right, the minimum basic things that what you need to learn, right? So, for example, what is a computer? That is what you need to understand. How exactly the computer works? How our programming languages is going to be work within our computer? What are the different kinds of a programming language? Using the programming language, what are the different types of applications we can develop? What is standalone application? What is web application, right? Then we are going to discuss what are the different paradigms, or you can say what are the different methodologies that we adopt to develop applications, right? Currently the world is on object oriented programming language, or you can say object oriented programming we are using to develop our application. But before object oriented programming language, what was there? So we see in our academic we learn C. C is not an object oriented programming language. C++ is not a completely object oriented programming language. Then what kind of programming languages is C? This is nothing but a modular and procedural programming language. Before modular and procedural programming language, is there anything? Yes, there is something called monolithic programming language. So I'm going to discuss what is monolithic programming language, what is procedural, or you can say modular programming languages, and then I will show you what are the problem or disadvantages with monolithic and procedural, and how we can overcome those disadvantages using our object-oriented programming language. And once we discuss this thing, right, then I will start discussing what is .NET framework, what are the different components, or you can say the architecture of a .NET framework. Then I will give you one brief introduction to the C# programming language, why people are moving to C# programming language, right? In .NET, we can develop the application using VB. We can also develop the application using F#. But as a .NET developer, why we prefer to use C# programming language? What advantages we are getting using C#, which we are not available with F# and VB? That is what I'm going to discuss, right? Once this introduction part is completed, right, then what I'm going to discuss? I'm going to discuss, right, the .NET environment setup. .NET Core environment setup. See, basically, as you know, this course is related to .NET 6. .NET 6 means C Sharp using .NET Core, you can also say. So I'm going to say, I'm going to tell you how you can make your environment to develop .NET Core application. So for that purpose, what we are going to install? We are going to install Visual Studio 2022, right? We are going to install Visual Studio 2022. So I will show you from where you need to download, what are the different flavors of Visual Studio, right? How you can install Visual Studio on your machine using Linux operating system, using a Windows operating system. Then I will show you how you can download and install .NET Core SDK. Some point of time we are going to develop application using Visual Studio Code. So I will also show you how you can download and install Visual Studio Code. So as you know, whenever we are developing an enterprise application, without a database, the application is incomplete. So for this course, what we are going to use, we are going to use SQL Server as our backend database. So I will show you how you can download and install SQL Server. But guys, see, installing SQL Server is not enough. It is the server. Communicate with the server, we need a client tool. And for that purpose, I will show you how you can download and install SQL Server Management Studio. So this is the minimum things which we are going to download and install and make our environment ready to develop .NET Core applications, right? So guys, whenever I'm saying .NET Core, don't consider I'm going to explain using ASP.NET Core MVC or ASP.NET Core Web API. Right? Mostly we are going to I'm going to explain the concept using console application, but that application, what I'm going to use, it is going to be using the C sharp programming language, right? So once you understand this thing, then I will give you a brief idea. Brief idea means what is the difference between a .NET Core and a .NET Framework, right? Already those who are having good experience, they are very aware about this .NET Framework, right? Which we are using from the last 15-20 years. But why we are moving from .NET Framework, .NET Core? What are the difference between them? But which type of applications we need to develop using .NET Framework? Which kind of application we need to use? .NET Core, right? So that is what I'm going to discuss. And then I'm going to show you the code execution process of a .NET Core application with the .NET Framework application. I will show you one application using .NET Framework, and again I'm going to show you another application using .NET Core, and I will explain how the program execution happens in both these two different frameworks. And then I'm going to start our first console application using Visual Studio 2022 and using .NET 6, right? Visual Studio 2022 and you can say .NET 6. So with this, our chapter 1 is going to be completed. So once chapter 1 is completed, then we will start chapter 2. So chapter 2 means what? Now it is the C Sharp .NET basic concepts, right? So if you are having any experience of any programming language, right? I'm not talking about any object-oriented programming language, any programming language like C, C++, Java, right? Anything is fine. So if you are having any experience, you can compare this chapter with those concepts, right? So basically what we are going to discuss, what is the basic structure of a C sharp program? What are the different methods and properties of the console class? For example, we want to take the data from the user, console.write line, console.read line, read key, right? Like this, there are many methods are available, many properties are available. So what all these properties, what all these methods, that is what we are going to discuss in detail, right? Then I will show you data type. Data type, guys, it is one of the what I can say important mandatory concept. Why? Because see, if I ask you what are the data types you used in your application, then you can say 5, 6 data type like Boolean data type, integer data type, character data type, float data type, string data type, like 5, 6 data type. But apart from this 5 or 6 data type, there are many other data types available. Suppose for example, if I want to tell you, I want to store a number 10, right? And that value is fixed. This value is never going to be changed. And what kind of a data type you need to use to declare the variable to store the value 10? So generally, the first thing that comes to your mind is int. But do you think that we need to create a variable of an integer type to store a value 10? No. The answer is no. Why? Because if I'm creating the integer data type, it will take 4 bytes of memory, right? And but if I want to store the same value 10, I can declare a byte data type which will take 1 byte of memory. So if I am achieving the same thing using byte data type, then why I should to go for integer data type? Because integer will take more memory in the RAM. So those things we are going to discuss. So we'll discuss what exactly data type, how you can identify which data type I need to use, where the data type values are going to be stored, when the values are going to be stored, how the computer processor accessing those values, right? So everything we are going to discuss. Then we will discuss literal means, these are constant. Typecasting we are going to discuss how you can convert one data type to another data type. Implicit typecasting is there, explicit typecasting is there, right? All these things we are going to discuss. Then this concept, what is variable of operator, control flow statement, right? Control flow means from one block you want to execute one block, you want to skip one block, right? From one block you want to go to the next block. So for that purpose, we are going to use if else statement, switch statement, right? Then we are going to understand looping, right? Looping in the sense, if you want to execute the same number of statement multiple times, right? And based on the scenario, you may decide you to use while loop, you may go for the do while loop, you may go for the for loop. And apart from this, we are also having something called for each loop. That is what we are also going to discuss. So we need to understand what is exit control loop, what is entry control loop, what is the difference between exit and entry control loop, how the right flowchart of this loop is going to be created, right? All these things we are going to discuss. Then we are going to discuss this three statement. What is break statement? We're going to use break statement, continue statement, and go to statement. Right. Once this is completed, then I'm going to discuss what is a function, what are the different categories of a function, what are built-in function, why we need to create user-defined function. Then I'm going to discuss what is call by value and call by reference mechanism, right? So command line argument we are going to discuss also. For example, if you remember, whenever we are creating the right, those who are having some experience into .NET, I'm saying to them, right? Whenever you created the class, whenever you create a console application, by default, the program class main method is created, and that main method having one string argument parameter, right? But if you want to supply some value to those string argument parameter, then like string array parameter, then you need to use command line argument. So I'm going to show you how we can pass those values to the main method parameter using the command line argument. Then I'm going to show you string class. Then I'm going to discuss what is static keyword, non-static, const, read only. This properties, it is a new concept, right? Introduced in our .NET, right? I'm going to discuss what is properties, what are the different categories of properties, right? How you can create read only, write only, right? Read write properties. Everything we are going to discuss. Then we are going to discuss the why we should override the toString method. ToString method means in this case, I'm going to explain one important class that is called object class, and that object class having some properties, some method, and those object class properties and methods are virtual and they are available to all the derived classes, right? And how you can override those classes, right? Those methods in our class. That is what we are going to discuss. So, like this toString, there is also another method called equals method, which guys, please unmute yourself, right? Then I'm going to discuss what is the difference between convert to string, convert and the to string method in C sharp, because this is one of the interview questions. Then I'm going to explain what is the checked and unchecked keyword. I'm going to discuss what is stack and heap memory in C sharp, right? Exactly, we need to understand the memory architecture, right? So before proceeding with the whole concept, we need to understand what is stack memory, what is heap memory, when the variable is going to be created in the stack, how the stack memory is going to be deallocated, when the data is going to be stored in the heap memory. If storing in the heap memory, then how I can access the data from right from the heap memory, when the heap memory is going to be deleted, right? All these things we need to understand. Then I'm going to discuss this concept called boxing and unboxing. Boxing and unboxing is basically related to your application, right? Application in the sense, if you are having some data, right? Integer data, you want to store that data into by converting to object data type, or if you are having some object data you want to convert back to integer data type. That means in that case we need to perform boxing and unboxing. And guys, remember, boxing and unboxing is very bad from the performance point of view. So you should avoid using boxing and unboxing in your application. So with this, the basic concept, right, C#.NET Basics is going to be completed. The next chapter, what we are going to discuss, the OOPS concept, right? So as you know, C# is a object-oriented programming language. So as C# is an object-oriented programming language, so we need to understand the object-oriented programming concept, right? So in this chapter, I will tell you what exactly object-oriented programming approach, why we need to use object-oriented programming approach, what is the importance of a class and object, right? what is a constructor, different types of a constructor, why we need constructor, what is the difference between static and a non-static constructor, what is private constructor, as well as I'm going to also discuss what is a destructor. So while I'm discussing destructor, then this concept is interrelated with a garbage collection, right? Destructor means object is going to be destroyed. So whenever the object is no longer referred in our application, we need to destroy that object, and for that purpose, this destructor function we are using. But that destructor function internally calling the garbage collect. So we need to understand what exactly the garbage collection concept in .NET Framework. So here I will explain you, right? So what are the different generation of garbage collection? Generation 0, generation 1, generation 2. How you can move one object from generation 1 to generation 2. So we are not moving the object. Internally, the garbage collector will move from generation 0 to generation 1, generation 1 to generation 2. Why we have three different generations? How frequently the garbage collector visits generation 0? How frequently it is visiting generation 1 as well as generation T, right? So the concept behind this, I'm going to use some kind of additional tool, right? And I will show you these things practically. So once this is completed, then I'm going to discuss access specifier. Access specifier means what? Now, if you are creating one class or if you are creating one method, then who should access this class? Who should access this method? So for that purpose, we are using access specifier, and there are many different kind of access specifiers are available, like private, protected, internal, public, right? Protected, private, internal. Many access specifier are there, and all those access specifier we are going to discuss in detail. What is the use of each access specifier? At what scenario we need to use this access specifier? If I am using this access specifier, then can I access the data member within the same class, within the derived class of the same assembly, within the derived class of another assembly, right? So all these things we are going to discuss. Then once we discuss this thing, then we will start the actual OOPS concept, right? So basically, whenever we are using object-oriented programming, means we are following the OOPS concept. And in OOPS, there are four principles. What are the principles? Encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. So once we discuss this thing, then I will explain what exactly encapsulation, how you can implement encapsulation in your application, why you need to follow encapsulation in your application. If you are not following the encapsulation principle, then what problem you will face, right? And the same concept is again with the abstraction. So what is abstraction? Why we need to follow abstraction? How we can implement abstraction, right? So abstraction means we are having two options. Either we can make use of an interface or abstract class. So I'm going to show you what is the difference between interface, abstract class, when to use interface, when to use abstract class, all these things, right? And the next concept what I'm going to discuss is inheritance. Same. What is inheritance? Why we need inheritance? If we are not following inheritance, then what problem we will face? How we can overcome those problem in inheritance? Then how you can use inheritance in your real-time application development? And then you can also see what are the different types of inheritance? What are the types supported in .NET? According to C++, what are the different category of inheritance? According to .NET, what are the different category of inheritance? Right? All these things we are going to discuss. And then I'm going to discuss the two important concept, right? One is EJ and Hajar relationship. Whenever we are working with the inheritance concept, right, then we need to understand what exactly the meaning of EJ relationship between two entities, Hajar relationship between two entities, right? And then I'm going to discuss what exactly the concept behind generalization and specialization, right? All these things we are going to discuss. Then we will start discussing what are abstract class, abstract method, when to use abstract class in your application development. And same also in the case of an interface. Why interface, right? What is multiple inheritance? Why multiple inheritance is not supported with right classes, and so we can implement multiple inheritance with interfaces. What exactly the diamond problem? Why we face diamond problem with a diamond problem in the sense ambiguity problem with classes, and how we can overcome that problem using interfaces, right? And then I'm going to discuss this polymorphism. Polymorphism means multiple behavior. So in this case, I'm going to discuss the three, four important concept. One is method overloading, operator overloading, method overriding, and method hiding. So what are all these things? We will discuss everything in, with real-time examples. Then once you understand this thing, then I'm going to discuss few important concepts, right? What exactly the partial class, which is new in our .NET Framework. This partial class is not available in other classes, right? Or sorry, other classes mean the other programming languages. What exactly the partial class? Partial class means what? So if you want to split the class definition into multiple files, right? The question should come to your mind, why we should split the class definition into multiple files? It is the advantages we are getting if we are splitting the class definition into multiple files. We will discuss all these things practically. Then I will discuss something called shield class, right? If anybody having experience in Java, then in Java there is something called final keyword. So the final is replaced with shield in our .NET, right? Means once you make the class as shield, that means that class is not going to be participate in inheritance further. Similarly, partial method means that method is fixed. You cannot change that method, right? Then I'm going to discuss what are extension method, right? If you are having one class and that source code is not available to us, right? Suppose you are having one what I can say built-in class, and I want to add one I want to add my own method, right, into that built-in class so that I can access that method using the built-in class object. And how I can do this? For that purpose, we are going to use extension method. Then I'm going to discuss what exactly the static class, when we need to use static class, when the static class is initialized, and what is the importance, right, of static class in object-oriented programming, because static class is completely opposite of object-oriented programming. Why we need to use, when we need to use, right? All these things we will discuss. And then I'm going to discuss the difference between variable, reference, and the instance of a class. So with this, our OOPS concept is going to be completed. Once OOPS concept is completed, the chapter 4 is exception handling. Nothing to discuss here in, right? We'll discuss how you can write exception handling code, how you can write multiple catch block. Definitely try catch and final is there, right? So we'll understand try catch and final. We'll understand multiple catch block. What is the importance of a final block, right? We'll also discuss how we can create our custom exception classes. What is inner exception, right? We'll understand, and then I will discuss what is exception handling abuse, right? Exception handling abuse in the sense, right? So exception handling concept is available. That doesn't mean we can write exception handling concept whenever if the concept is not required. So exception handling is basically used to handle the exception. Exception handling should not be used for your business logic. If you are using exception handling for business for logic, then that is nothing but exception handling abuse. For example, for example, you can see the exception handling example many times, right? That divide by zero exception. Right? Whenever the second number is zero, then you can write a try block, a catch block. In the try block, you will write the code in such a way that it will throw divide by zero exception, and in the catch block, it is going to handle the exception. Do you think that for that particular use case, exception handling is required? It is not required, because if you simply write one if condition, if number, if second number equals to zero, then don't do the operation. Instead, show a message to the user that this number is wrong. So we can achieve this using a simple if statement. Then in that case, exception handling is not required. So if you are implementing those kind of examples using exception handling, right? Then it is not nothing but you are abusing the concept called exception handling. We'll see all these things, right? So the next chapter is event delegates and lambda expression. Guys, remember this event delegates and lambda expression, right? As a developer, you might not use this concept in your regular day-to-day programming, but the framework uses this concept very frequently, right? So in this chapter, I'm going to discuss what exactly events, what exactly delegates, right? Without event, delegate is not required. So delegate means it is a part of an event. So I will explain what is the role of an event delegate, event handler, what is delegate, what is multicast delegate, delegate real-time example, what are the different types of a generic delegate. I will explain what is anonymous method, what is lambda expression, and then I will show you events example using C#, right? So this is one of the most important chapter that what you need to understand. So once this chapter is completed, then I will explain multi-threading. So guys, remember, whenever you want to develop robust application, performance optimized application, well organized code, right? So that you can manage the code very easily, then in that case, three important concepts you need to understand very clearly. What are the concepts? One is multi-threading, another one is parallel programming, another one is asynchronous programming. So multi-threading means what? Now multi-threading means it will see. I will explain this multi-threading concept in detail. So, but now I'm just giving one overview of between these three. Multi-threading means what? Now our application code is going to be executed by multiple threads, right? For example, we are calling three methods by using three different threads. Then do you think that if I'm using multi-threading, all these three methods are going to be executed at the same time? No. If we are using multi-threading, then don't think that all these three methods are going to be executed at the same time. So what will happen? Method 1 is going to be executed by thread 1. If that method execution doing some external activity, loading the data from a file, interacting with the database, right, or calling some external API. So in that case, if it is waiting for the operation to be completed, then in that case, that thread 1 will allow other thread to start the program execution, right. So basically, effective utilization of multiple threads is nothing but your multi-threading concept, right? In that case, thread 1 will be blocked until and unless the operation is completed. But in that case, thread 1 is blocked, but it will allow thread 2 to start its execution. Once thread 2 executing its code, if thread 2 waiting for some resources, right, then it can allow thread 3 to start its execution. If thread 3 complete, right, if again thread 3 is waiting for the resources to be right operation to be completed, then it will allow thread 1 to restart its execution. So in that way, they are effectively utilizing the CPU resources. That concept is called multi-threading. Then you might be questioning, sir, what is asynchronous programming? Right? In multi-threading, see guys, remember in multi-threading, so let's assume we are having three methods. Method 1, method 2, and method 3. These three methods are executing by three different. Okay, so to explain this thing, so better to right. So one concept is multi-threading, right? One concept is multi-threading, another concept is async programming, and another concept is parallel program. Multi-threading means what? Multiple threads. Async programming doesn't mean that multiple thread. One thread, but that cannot be, blocked. And in this case, multiple threads executing parallelly. Multiple threads executing parallel, right? So in this case, multiple thread, let assume thread 1, thread 2, right? Let assume thread 1, T1, thread 2, and let assume thread 3. So three threads are there. They are executing my application code. If thread 1 is taking some more time, then it will block the thread 1 and it will allow thread 2 to start the execution. If thread 2 is taking some more time, then it will block thread 2 and at the same time thread 3 it is going to start execution. But in this case, what will happen if thread 1 is executing and if thread 1 is waiting for the resource to be right, if it is calling some external API, that API is taking more time, then what he will do, it will release this thread 1 and the thread 1 can do other task as well. So in this case, it is not going to release. In this case, thread 1 is going to be released so that the same thread can do other task as well. So this is asynchronous programming. Multi-threading means, so if you are having three different methods and you want to execute these three different methods parallelly, then in that case, you need to use parallel programming. So multi-threading means multiple thread definitely, but they are going to execute one after another, and once one thread is blocked, it will allow other threads to execute the application code. Asynchronous programming means once one thread is waiting for some of the resources, right, then it will not block the thread to receive the right. It will not block the thread till the operation is completed. It will release the thread, and the same thread can access right. The same thread can be executed by other processes. Parallel programming means multiple thread definitely will come into the picture, and all these threads right are going to be executed parallel. So thread 1 executing method 1, thread 2 executing method 2, thread 3 executing method 3 parallelly. But in this case, the execution is not parallelly; it is sequentially, one after one. So right, but we think that they are executing at the same time, but there is something called a context switching, right? We will discuss what is thread, what is process, what is context switching, right? Everything we will discuss in detail. But for now, I'm just giving you. Won't consider all these three are same. both are having one advantages and disadvantages based on the requirement, based on the business purpose. We need to decide whether we need to go for multi-threading or async programming or parallel programming. Again, all this concept I'm going to discuss in detail. Right. So here you will see what is multi-threading, what is thread class, how to pass data to a thread function in a type-safe manner, how to retrieve data from the thread function, what is the importance of a join and is a join method and is a leave property, what is thread synchronization, what is lock, monitor, mutex, semaphore, slim classes, right? Then I will discuss what is deadlock. Then I will show you perform testing of a multi-threaded application. This is important. Why? Because see, if I am using multi-threaded, then we need to understand whether if I am developing one application, if the same application can be developed using single thread application, using a multi-thread application, then we need to do a performance measurement. So what time it is taking using a single thread, what time it is taking using a multi-thread. Don't think that you are using multi-threading means always you will get the better performance. I will show you example where single thread application will give you better performance comparing to multi-threaded application. Same time, I will show you another example where multi-threaded application will give better performance as compared to your single-thread application. Then there is something called thread pool concept, right? What is that thread pooling concept? I'm going to explain. What is foreground, background thread? What is auto reset, manual reset event? Then I will discuss you what is thread lifecycle, right? What are the thread priorities? How to terminate a thread, inter-thread communication, and finally discuss you, right? The way we are putting the debugger, right? Putting a debugger and debug the application. This is not going to work with multi-threaded application because multiple threads are executing at the same time. So you can decide whether which thread is executing my application code, right? For example, if you are having one method and that method is going to be called by three different threads, then which thread is executing your application code? How you can debug that? So I will show you how you can debug a multi-threaded application using Visual Studio. So once multi-threading is completed, then I will discuss what is collection framework. Collection framework in the sense I will discuss uh, exactly in the sense of collection framework in detail. In detail means I will start discussing with the traditional array concept, right? Because this array concept are not new in C#, not new in Java. They are already available from C and C++. So I will start discussing with the array. What is one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array? Then I will discuss what is the advantages and the disadvantages of using array. Then what are the disadvantages of array? Then I will show you how you can overcome those disadvantages using the collection framework. So starting with the array, what about the disadvantages of array and how we can overcome those disadvantages using collection framework? Guys, give me 1 minute. Okay, so then I will show you what is collection framework. And this collection framework means this is the non-generic collection framework. So in collection framework, we are having three different kinds of collection framework. One is non-generic, one is generic, and another one is concurrent. So first of all, I will discuss what is non-generic collection framework, what are the different non-generic collection classes are available, right? And once we discuss, then I will discuss what is the advantages and disadvantages of a non-generic collection framework. And then I will show you how you can overcome the non-generic framework disadvantages using generic framework, right? So this is what I'm going to discuss next. So once in generic framework, again, there are a lot of inbuilt classes are available. And again, before explaining each classes, then I will explain one concept called generics, right? Because until and unless you do not know what exactly generic, how generic is implemented, right? You will not understand this list collection classes or this dictionary, whatever, right? So I will explain what are exactly generic, how you can implement generic in your .NET application applications, and then I will explain what are the different kind of a generic collection classes available, right? You can see all these collection classes I'm going to discuss. Then I will show you what is the problem with the generic collection classes and how we can overcome those problems using concurrent collection classes, right? In concurrent collection classes, the same. Here you are using a list, here you will use back, right? So here you is using stack, here you will use concurrent stack, concurrent back, concurrent dictionary, right? So I will show you what exactly the meaning of a concurrent dictionary, what are the problem we will face with generic collection class, and how we can overcome those problems using our concurrent collection classes, right? So this is all about collection framework, right? And then I'm going to discuss file handling. File handling means what? Now, what are the different built-in classes provided, right, for us to perform different kind of file operations, right? File read, file write, right? File delete, file open, file create. All these things we can perform using different approaches. So I'm going to discuss all the different approaches, and finally I will discuss you how you can import and export Excel data in your C# application, right? Once this is completed, then I will start discussing the asynchronous programming. Asynchronous, guys, remember, asynchronous programming doesn't mean async and await keyword. Apart from async and await keyword, we have many concepts that we need to understand. What are the concepts? What is task? How to return a value from a task? How to execute multiple tasks? How to limit the number of concurrent attacks? How to cancel a task using cancellation token? How to create synchronous method using task? What is retry pattern? What is only one pattern? How to control the result of a task? Task-based asynchronous programming. What do we mean by chaining task? How to attach child task to a parent task? What is value task? How to cancel a non-cancelable task? What is asynchronous stream and how to cancel asynchronous stream? So asynchronous programming doesn't mean this async await. We also need to understand all these concepts, and all these concepts I'm going to discuss in detail. Similarly, parallel programming. And guys, remember, asynchronous programming means you need to use whenever you are going to perform the IO operation, right? IO input output operation means from your application, if you want to communicate with some external, right, machine, external in the sense, if you want to communicate with the database, if you want to load the data from a file, or if you are consuming some RESTful services, in that case, please try to make the services or method as asynchronous. And most of the time, whenever we are developing the ASP.NET Core MVC application or ASP.NET Web API application, we try to use the action method as async, right? So I will show you what is the real-time use of asynchronous programming. Parallel programming means this is basically used for CPU-bound operations. CPU-bound operation means if you are having a very big loop, right? If you are using general for each loop, then it will access the loop element one by one. Instead, that means one thread is going to execute your loop. So instead of using one thread which will access only one element at a given point of time, I can make use of a for each parallel for loop or parallel for each loop. In that case, I can decide how many number of threads will execute my for loop at the same time. I can decide five threads will going to execute my application code. So in that case, if total number of element is 50, then only 10 round will be occurred there because five threads will execute. Then I will show you parallel invoke parallel for each loop. So parallel invoke means if you are having multiple three methods, method one, method two, method three, and you want to execute these three methods parallelly, then you can make use of invoke method. Maximum degree of parallelism, it is one of the important concept, right? So basically, instead of hard coding the number of cores, right, the number of threads that is going to execute your application code, then you can make use of effective utilization of a CPU resources by using this concept. I will say, I will explain you what is the best way to decide how many number of cores or threads going to execute my application code by using this concept called maximum degree of parallelism. Then I will show you how you can cancel the parallel operations, right? For example, I'm executing one big for each loop, or I'm calling five methods using the invoke method, and I need to decide if the execution is not completed within 2 seconds or 3 seconds, I want to cancel the operations, right? Then in that case, we need to understand how we can cancel the parallel operations. Then we will discuss what are atomic method, thread safety, race conditions, what is interlock versus lock, what is parallel LINQ, and then I will discuss you what is the difference between multi-threading, asynchronous programming, and parallel programming, when to use what approach, right? So this is all about your parallel programming. Then I will discuss your Automapper. right? Automapper means it is one of the what I can say, it is one of the real time concept that you need to use while you are developing the applications, right? For example, you are having one type and you need to convert the type values, right, into a different type. You can do this manually, but instead of doing this mapping manually, we can make use of Automapper, who is going to do the things for us. And again, while doing the Automapper, we can set some of the conditional, right? So conditional mapping, reverse mapping. Conditional means if if the value of this property is this, then do this, right? Ignore if you want to ignore some of the properties mapping, that is also possible. Reverse mapping means I want to map class A to class B as well as class B to class A. So that is also possible. So complex type to primitive type or primitive type to complex type, that is also possible. For example, you want to map properties of a class to a type or a type to properties of another class. That is also possible. That is what I am going to discuss in this Automapper concept. Optional parameter indexer and enum, right? So if you want to make the method parameter as optionals, right? Optional means if I'm going to pass the value, it will accept. If I'm not going to pass the value, then it will not accept, but it will not throw me any kind of error. That means we need to make the method parameter as optional. So what are the different options available in C# to make the method parameter as optional? All those options we are going to discuss. Then I'm going to discuss what is indexer. Indexer means what? If you remember, if you are creating an array, then you can access the array element using the index position. Similarly, what is my intention? I want to create a class. That class having some properties or some right to some properties, and I want to access the properties value by using the same index condition. I can pass the indexer value as 0, 1, 2 means integer, or I can also pass the indexer value some string name like name, age, city, right? And once I create the object of the class, and once I pass object colon, I mean the square bracket 0 or name, it should give me the. So local recording is not possible. I'm going to provide the recorder to each and everyone, right? So all these things is right going to discuss what is the indexer real-time example, how you can create enums and use enums in your application. That is also I'm going to discuss. Then I'm going to discuss the .NET framework architecture, right? So once up to this, if you completed this thing, means you are having very good understanding of a .NET concept, right? Then I will start what is the .NET program CLR, right? What is .NET program execution concept, right? So what is ILDSM or ILSM tool, intermediate language disassembler, intermediate language assembler? What is the importance of these tools, right? What is CTS? What is CLS, right? What are the difference between managed and unmanaged code? What is assembly DLL EXE, right? What is up domain? What are strong and weak assemblies? How to install an assembly into GSE global assembly class, right? And what exactly the DLL hell problem and how you can overcome this problem in .NET framework, right? So this is nothing but .NET framework architecture we are going to discuss. Right. Then the next chapter is the concept called the var dynamic and reflection, right? So basically, I will explain what is reflection, how you can make use of a reflection, right? A reflection, real-time use cases, all these things we'll discuss. Then I will show you there are two important keyword introduced. One is dynamic, another one is keyword var. What is the difference between them? Why, when we need to use dynamic, when we need to use var, how you can use these two? What is the difference between them? Right? What I'm going to discuss. Then I'm going to discuss, right? Then I'm going to discuss what is the difference between dynamic and reflection. I will explain what is volatile keyword. I will explain what is the difference between ref and out parameter, and then I will discuss what are named parameters in C#. So once this concept is completed, then I'm going to discuss some of the new C# concepts, right? So this is not limited, but as of now, I'm adding 20 new concepts. But later, right, if you remember, I have also provided the upcoming C# 12 features, right? C# 12 is all in the preview mode, which is going to be launched, right? .NET along with the C# 12 feature is going to be released along with the .NET 8. So in the month of November, and at that time, right, our course is going to continue. So at the end, I'm also going to discuss what are the new features introduced in C# 12 and with the .NET 8. And this concept, what I'm going to discuss, it is applicable to .NET 6, right? .NET 7. So any you can use and you can learn, right? Then I'm going to discuss ADO.NET. ADO.NET means if you do not prefer to use entity framework, but you want to communicate with the database, then you can make use of ADO.NET. So basically, it is the data access technology. So here I'm going to discuss what is the ADO.NET architecture, how you can communicate with SQL Server, MySQL, and Oracle databases, right? What is SQL connection, command, data reader, data adapter, data tables class, what is data set, how you can use data set with SQL Server, ADO.NET using storage procedure, ADO.NET dataset using storage procedure, what is the data view, what is the architecture of data view, right? Dataset. Then I will discuss what is the transactions, how you can implement a distributed transaction, what is connection pooling, right? What is ADO.NET architecture, right? This is the architecture of a data set, and this is the architecture of a ADO.NET. Then I will show you how you can perform the right bulk insert update operation using storage procedure, how you can perform the bulk insert operation using the SQL bulk copy class, and how you can perform, see, bulk operation and batch operation, both are different, right? Operation means you are having 100 records you want to insert, you can pass the 100 record at one time. Batch operation means what? Now, if you want to pass 100 operations, then it will make that 100 into number of batch, and you want to specify the batch size. I want to batch size 10. 10 means it will divide that 100 records into a batch of 10, each having 10 records, and then it will execute and it will pass 10 record at a time to the database, right? SQL Server database. And that is nothing but your batch operation. Then I will show you what is the connection oriented and disconnected architecture. Then I will show you how you can make use of ADO.NET using XML data. I'm going to discuss what is SQL injection and prevention, and then I'm going to discuss what is SQL command builder class in C#. Once this is completed, the next chapter is entity framework, right? Entity framework, it is going to take at least 2 weeks, because many things we need to understand from entity framework. So first of all, I will explain the basic concept. Basic concept means what is the architecture, why we need entity framework, how you can make use of entity framework, what is the DB context class, what is the DB set properties, right? What are entities, what is the entity state, right? How entity framework decide, right, what operation, what SQL statement to be generated, whether I need to generate a insert statement, update statement, or delete statement, based on what criteria it will decide all these things, right? And then I will show you the development approach means whether you need to go with entity framework code first approach, or whether you need to go with the entity framework database first approach. So that what I will discuss. So once you understand the basic concept, next what I'm going to explain the exact what approach, right? So in entity framework database first approach, I'm going to explain everything in detail, right? Performing the single operation to bulk operation, performing a eager loading to lazy loading, performing explicit loading, connected and disconnected entities, asynchronous programming, change tracking, validate transaction, right? Everything we are going to discuss. And the same concept also I'm going to discuss using database first approach, right? So this is nothing but your, what I can say, code first approach. Entity framework, this is code first approach, not the database first approach. So this is database first approach, and this is code first approach. So in this case, I'm going to discuss everything what is related to code first approach. All the concept I'm going to discuss in detail. So once you understand the entity framework, then you need to understand the language integrated query, or you can say LINQ, right? Any kind of a .NET application you develop nowadays, LINQ is a mandatory thing. If it's not related to entity framework or ADO.NET, you can also create a one, right? You can also make use of LINQ with these in-memory objects. You have created a list of a collection. On that list of collection, you can apply the LINQ queries, right? Again, I will discuss this LINQ queries in detail. Whatever subchapter I have provided here, each subchapter I am going to discuss in detail, right? What is the importance of that particular method, when to use that method, how to use that method, right? Everything I'm going to discuss. So once this LINQ is completed, then what I'm going to discuss, solid design principle, right? So as we are going to develop application for our company, so we need to make the application robust. We need to make the application performance optimized, and most important thing, we need to make the application so that it can accept the future changes with minimal effort. And for that purpose, we need to know what exactly the solid design principle, right? So basically here, I will explain 5 principles. In the solid, each word represent one principle. S for solid, O for open closed, L for list of right into substitution, I for interface segregation, and D for dependency inversion. So each and every principle I'm going to discuss in detail. Then I'm going to discuss the design pattern. So design pattern means first I will start discussing with the Django for 23 design patterns. So Django for they provided a 23 design patterns and they divided those 23 design patterns into three categories. One is creational design pattern, one is structural design pattern, another one is behavioral design pattern. So all those 23 design patterns by taking real-time examples, right? I'm going to explain. So once these 23 design patterns is explained, then two important design patterns nowadays used in almost every type of applications. One is dependency injection, right? Another one is repository. So I will show you what is dependency injection, what is setter method, right? What is property, what is constructor injection, how you can make use of a unit container. And then I'm going to discuss repository. See, if you are working with the entity framework, then entity framework plus repository pattern plus unit of work is the most thing, right? Only knowing entity framework is not enough. We need to implement repository pattern along with the unit of work, because using unit of work we can provide a transaction concept to our entities. So once this concept is completed, then the next chapter what I'm going to discuss, many members have requested me to add the logical program. So in this chapter I'm going to add more than I will explain more than 50 puzzles, right? So so these are nothing but you can say related to your interview preparation, right? In the interview they will ask this type of questions and what are the different ways. See, each application, each program, I'm going to explain using different mechanisms, right? So that is what chapter 23 is all about, logical programming. Chapter 24, I'm going to discuss how you can develop different kind of web application using .NET Core. So I'm going to show you how you can develop ASP.NET Core web application, MP web application, how you can develop MVC application, which is follow model view controller, how you can develop application web API means RESTful applications, then how you can develop application using Razor pages, page focused application, and how you can develop Blazor application. So basically in this case, so what I mean to tell you here is once you understand the C sharp concept, next concept is you need to understand this thing in detail. You should know how you can develop ASP.NET Core MVC application, how you can develop ASP.NET web applications, web API, right? Razor pages, Blazor, all these things. And finally, right, I'm going to discuss what are the C sharp 12 new features, right? So the list I have not provided here because the list is not yet finalized because it is in the preview mode. So once they finalized what are the features they are going to introduce, I will add them into the list. Clear, guys? What is the course syllabus?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I have a question.
Yeah. So now you can now you guys can ask your question right one by one, and I can clarify all your doubts. Yeah, one ask me one by one.
Okay. Yeah, my question
So
is,
sir, who is Lakshman? Don't put anything on the UI. Right? So don't write anything on the UI. Okay. Okay.
okay,
Now ask.
yeah, are you going to target to finish all the chapters in detail, irrespective of the timeline, or are you targeting
See
the
what?
course time to finish in 5 months?
See. So the thing is that the timeline what I'm provided is an approximate, right? So nobody can tell exactly the course is going to be completed in 5 months. It might be 1 week or 2 week earlier. It might be 1 or 2 week later. But on an
Okay.
average, it is going to be 5 months.
Yeah, and thank you so much. And one more thing is, since here we have the 24 or 25 chapters, is it like, each chapter is going to be approximately 1 week time, or maybe,
No, no. Say,
um,
I can tell. See, some of the chapter will completed in one or two classes. Some of the chapter will take more than 2 weeks, right? It is something like this. See, if you look
okay,
at the entity framework, right, it is a very huge concept. And if you see this OOPS concept, it will not completed in 1 week. It will take more than 1 week, right? Exceptionally,
yeah,
I can take one class and I can complete this chapter in one class only. right? So event
Got it.
delegates I can complete in two classes. Multi-threading I cannot complete in one or two classes. It will take at least three classes. Similarly, collection framework, right? And these are the small, but this asynchronous programming, parallel programming. So some of the right we cannot predict exactly it is one chapter for 1 week. So basically that basically depend number of chapters. The optional
Yeah.
parameter is very less chapters we can complete in 1 day, right? But if you look
Yeah.
at this concept entity framework, definitely it will not complete in 1 week, right? Because here 7 chapter, here 28 chapter, and here 31 chapter. And if you look at this language, LINQ query, it is not going to be completed, right? So it will
Yeah,
take
got it.
at
So
least,
my concern is like initial chapters are basic concepts, right? So if we're spending more time over there, and then at like when we're
no,
going just for passing by,
no, no,
so I don't want like
no, no,
just
no.
going too
See,
fast. Yeah.
no, no, no. So this is not happening in my training. The way I'm
Okay.
starting, in the same way I'm going to end the syllabus, right? I'm not going to skip
Okay.
anything, right? The same process, the process is going to be same, right? For you, you can consider this is the basic concept, this is the advanced concept. But for me, everything is same, right?
Okay. Yeah,
There
sometimes
is no
I
difference,
attended some of the trainings in the past, not the C
no,
sharp, but the other things. They just
right?
cover in detail in the first chapters, and then later
See,
on, when the day's going,
see,
they'll just
if,
finish very fast.
you see, this is the document what I provided or what I explained in my previous session, right? You
Okay.
can see every concept I'm going to explain, right? Every concept I'm going to explain. See, for example, if you take the creational design part, right? So I'm going to discuss everything, right? Creational design pattern by taking the real-time examples only. I'm going to explain, right? I'm not going to skip anything. I don't think that the once the main concept is started, I will skip. It is not nothing like this. So the way I
Okay.
have started, those in the same way I'm going to complete. So this is the reason why I'm saying sometimes the predicted timeline it might be sometime later, some earlier 1 week, or it might take 1 or 2 week more, right? But don't think that I'm going to skip anything or I'm going to bypass anything. Everything I'm going to explain in depth.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any more question from anyone else?
Yeah, Pranay. So I just wanted to know, like, whether you will be covering the Lambda methods and the
Yes,
anonymous
yes.
methods as well.
Yeah, exactly. That is also already I have discussed in the event delegates Lambda expression, anonymous method Lambda expression. They are already part of the syllabus.
Okay, I missed that. Sorry.
Yeah. See, this is the reason why I shared the course syllabus earlier to you guys. If I missed anything, you need to tell me, right? And most of the people they demanded to add this logical programming. This is the thing that what I have added to this course syllabus.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. Any question from anyone else?
Um, when is the actual classes will start?
Class is started already from the today itself. So there is no more. So for you guys, the first 3 sessions are demo sessions. But for me, there is no demo sessions, only main sessions, right? That today, whatever the overview I have given, I'm not going to repeat the same thing again. From tomorrow, I'm going to start chapter 1 only,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah. Hi. Is like with the training will going on any project based or like a theory means
Yes.
practical based, concept based?
It is a combination of both. It is the theoretical based as well as the practical based, right? I will explain the theory concept. Again, I'm going to show you practical real-time example use cases of each and every concept.
Ah,
Right?
yeah,
Do you think that is it possible to develop a real-time project by learning chapter by chapter? It is not possible because by learning this is teacher, I'm going to explain data type. What real-time project I will develop by using this data type concept?
I agree. Means not in the C sharp, like a next concept when we are going to the core or MVC.
Yeah, in core and MVC, you can check with my student, right? You can see my training session, then you will understand, right? So again, I'm saying live project is not possible in the training session. Why? Because see, in this case, right, in this case, to complete this whole course syllabus, I need at least 250 to 270 hours.
Agree.
right? But
Right, right,
without
right.
learning any of without learning this concept, I cannot develop any real-time application. Again, coming to your point, if you want to develop real-time application using MVC and Web API, then first of all you need to learn the MVC concept and Web API concept. Or not.
I agree. Like just we are like we're going as a flow, like a project wise. How in the real time project, how it's look like.
Yes,
That's fine.
that is, see, in the real time, in the sense I'm saying again, right? I'm going to give you multiple scenarios, right? Suppose I'm explaining one concept, right? I will
Right.
explain where
Okay.
you need to use this explain concept in real-time application. We are not going to develop the complete real-time application, but where it is used, that part we can develop using the same concept.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Thanks.
yeah,
I have a question.
yeah.
Hello.
Ask me. Yeah, ask me.
Yes. Okay, my question is that, like what he said, my own question is, are we going to have a project that we are working towards, so that after this particular the lecture, we have a project that we can have, maybe a particular project that all these topics can be involved in, can be used. That's what I'm asking, because if we don't have a particular project, what I've come to learn is that it can be learned, but if it's not fully utilized in a particular project that we can really all feel, we are still going to lose it. So wouldn't there be a particular project that we are going to attach all this to?
See, see, first of all, the thing is that you cannot implement all the concept in a single project. That is not possible. So whenever we are developing a project, based on the project requirement, we need to decide what are the features we need to include, right? But based on the feature, you cannot develop the project. Feature, see, language feature will not decide what the project is going to be. Based on the project requirement, we can decide what are the features we need to use, whether we need to use multi-threading or not, whether we need to use parallel programming or not, whether we need to reflection concept, whether we need to use collection. Again, in collection framework, we are having array, we are having non-generic collection, we are having generic collection, we are having what I can say, concurrent collections, right? So, and second thing, and if you look at everything, see, you can go with for loop, for each loop, right? You can do while loop, right? But you cannot use all those concepts, right, in a single project. That is completely right. Not only for here, but if you develop any kind of real-time application, you cannot reuse all the concept in a single project. And second thing, coming to your project, right? Whenever you are learning this concept, right? Suppose I am going to start from chapter 2. Right, from chapter 2, I am starting this data type literals typecasting. But by taking this concept, I cannot develop any real-time applications. For developing real-time application, at least multiple concepts are required. One is you should know the basic concept. You should know the woods concept, right? You should know what is exception handling. You should know what is multi-threading, right? You should know what are collection framework. Until and unless I have not explained the collection framework, can I use the collection framework in a project? The answer is no, right? So here what we are going to learn is the concept, right? Every concept. And yes, while I'm explaining the multi-threading concept, I will take some real-time example. Yes, this is the real-time scenario. This is the real-time example. Practically, I'm not saying theoretically, I'm saying practically, right? I will show you practically, if this is your requirement, then how you can achieve the same thing using multi-threading, right? And coming to your point, there is no right. If you want to develop real-time application, then you need to use some kind of a web framework like ASP.NET Core MVC or ASP.NET Core Web API, Razor Pages, Blazor, right? Those things are required. But here, but until and unless you are not learning this concept, you cannot understand the rest of the things, right? Tomorrow I'm going to discuss the roadmap of right, what I can say, roadmap of .NET developer, right? Then you will understand what are the things you need to learn, how you need to learn, and then how you can develop those, how you can implement using those concepts to develop any kind of real-time application. So once you understand the .NET developer roadmap, then you will get more clarity. But coming to your point, it is completely not possible for me, right? Not possible for me to start explaining the concept from the beginning using the real-time project. But it is not feasible, right? And again, if someone doing like this, then most of the things are going to be skipped because if they are starting the explaining the concept by project, then based on the project requirement, whatever the concept are required, they are going to explain those concepts only, not all the concept. For example, if I'm taking the example of an entity framework, then if I'm explaining the concept using an entity framework, then what I will explain? How to install entity framework, how to perform the CRUD operation using an entity framework. But that is not enough. We need to understand the in-depth concept of an entity framework. And why I'm taking this console application, because I want to focus on the concept, not on the framework. If I'm developing the application using ASP.NET Core Web API or MVC, then at that time I need to focus on ASP.NET Core concept, ASP.NET Core MVC concept, ASP.NET Core Web API concept, not on C# concept. Clear?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Any more question from anyone, guys?
Yeah, where will the recording be available for all these sessions?
So recording, see, I'm creating one Telegram group, right? Whoever the member going to join this program, right? I will create a Telegram group with all those members, and in the Telegram group, I'm going to upload the recorded session as well as this documentations.
Thank you.
See, roadmap I'm going to explain tomorrow. So don't worry what about the roadmap on .NET Developer. That is what I'm going to discuss tomorrow. And once we discuss, then I will share the document. Okay. Any question from anyone else? Any more questions?
Yeah. Will you share some sample codes at the end of the class?
Sorry?
Sample codes. Like for advanced concepts, can you share that sample codes like while you showing that in demo or in class?
So what exactly you want to know? I'm not getting. Sample course means what?
I think what he's saying is, you showed the roadmap, right, with the examples inside the Word document. After the end of the session, are you going to share along with the video that Word document?
Yes, right, definitely, right. If you look at my ASP.NET other group, right, I'm showing how I'm going to provide. So this is my not this one, ASP.NET core group, right. So this is my yesterday session. I have uploaded the video as well as I'm providing the document, right. And if you open the document, it is something like this. So what the sample documents, right, I'm going to share, right, whatever document I have created, right, you can see every document I'm going to share with you guys. I have only prepared this document for you. What I will do by taking this with me, I'm going to share.
Is that what your question? I don't know who asked
Actually,
that.
I need the coding itself. Like, say, example, if you're explaining some design pattern,
Yes, see,
I
that
need some
example.
coding, not just
Yeah,
document.
coding. See, coming to your point, that coding, right? If you open this example, factory design pattern, right? I'm
Yeah.
not only going to share the code, right? I'm going to share the step-by-step process. If you want to implement the application something like this, right? I'm sharing the code. You can copy this code. You can create a class. You can copy this code and put it. Right? You need this thing or anything else?
Yeah, this is yeah.
Yeah, that is what I'm sharing.
Okay.
Right? So everything I'm going to share. Right, but I'm not going to share the project, right? Project means you have to create the project. If I'm saying sharing the project, then you can directly copy, right? Open the project using your Visual Studio. You won't need to do practices, right? For the practices, right? Everything I'm going to share. So how you will create the class? What should be the class name? Where you need to create the class? What are the properties, right? I'm explaining everything, right? See, create a class file with the name this, and then copy paste the following code into it. So you need to create a class with this name, then you need to copy this code. Right, so everything I'm going to share with you, and that is what I'm doing currently. Okay, any more question, guys?
Yeah, I have a question. So
Yes.
are we going to cover SQL Server database while in this course?
Hey, SQL Server database means I'm not going to explain SQL Server database, but whatever required, That's what I'm going to explain. For example, if I'm going to work with storage procedure, then I will explain what is storage procedure, how you can create the storage procedure, right? If I'm writing some TSQL statement, what is the use of that TSQL statement? How I'm going to create the table in the database? How I'm going to create a function in the database? How you can use the function in our application? Those things I'm going to explain, but don't expect me. I'm going to explain the SQL Server part in detail. Right, in the syllabus, I have not mentioned SQL Server anywhere, but yes, whatever required, those things I'm going to explain. And whenever I'm going to explain entity framework, at that time SQL Server is that much not required. Everything we are going to do using entity framework or entity framework only, right?
Okay, sir.
Because
Understood.
yeah, because SQL Server is itself a 3 months course, so I cannot include that as part of this training. Right? And because see, currently you are talking about SQL Server, but in my company we are using MySQL. Right? In some other country they are using Oracle. So it doesn't matter, right? Whatever the backend database, it doesn't matter with C#. Any kind of backend database you can consume. Okay.
Sir, is there any opportunity to get any internship program in your company?
See, I'm working for Microsoft.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Okay.
Right, I'm working for Microsoft, and I'm not running any individual company, something like this, or not any institution. I love to provide training, I love to write articles, right? And this is what I'm doing currently. So for that internship and all these things, I'm not taking any responsibility, or I'm not giving any job guarantee, right? So my responsibility to provide industry oriented training, right, to make you crack any kind of interviews. Okay. Any more question, guys? Guys, anybody having any question?
No, from our side.
Pranay, one thing, could you please share any book name which we should refer, like to gain some more insights? Any book if you want to refer?
So, see, if you are looking for any particular book, then you will not understand all the concepts, right? So instead of looking for any book, right, you can Google search now. In Google, you will get lots of concept for a particular topic,
Right.
right? So in why you should prefer books? So you can go with a multiple topic, right? You will get multiple articles. So one concept you might not understand in one article, you might understand in the second article, right? But if you are buying one book, right? Suppose you are not understanding that particular topic, then what you will do? Again, you will go back to internet and you will search.
That's true.
Right? So it's always better because we are in the internet area, right? Era of internet, right? Everything is available on internet. We can check. See, I'm not preparing all this document myself. I'm also looking into MSDN documentation, and always right, always better to check if you are if you are going for documentation. If you want to understand the concept, then I would suggest please go and check with the MSDN, because this is the genuine, right, this is the site who is providing the main concept, and by looking at the MSDN content, right, we are referring MSDN, we are creating the content by using our own example, one language, one word.
Okay.
Can you share to chapter list
So
so I
chapter list
easily
already,
so I easily to say easy to search to a Google and read
yeah,
to a concept.
already I have shared the PDF format in the group. Again, I'm going to share this thing on the group.
Okay.
Okay. Any question, guys? Okay. Shall we stop the session?
Actually, I have one question.
Yes.
Is this the only course that you're going to be running over this period of 5 months, or are you going to be running any other courses?
Currently, I have started .NET Core batch, right? Already 100 members are attending that session, right? And this is the second. I'm taking only 2 batch per day because from 12, my work time is started. From the morning, I'm taking 2 batch. From 7 to 9, I'm taking .NET Core, and from 9:30 to 11, I'm taking C#.
Okay. When did you start this .NET course?
.NET Core already started from July 24.
Oh, okay. So when are you going to start the next .NET course? Will it
Next
be?
means next means once the current batch is completed, then only I can start. It's going to be take at least 3 to 4 months.
Okay, thank you. Are you going to be running any other courses like SQL or
No,
or nothing else?
see, as I mentioned, I'm a working professional, right? My main job is not training, right? I love to teach, right? I love to share my knowledge, and that's why I'm here, right? And from 12 to 9, I'm doing my regular job. I'm working as a software developer at Microsoft.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
so guys, you can
Sir,
take a screenshot. Those who want to take part of this training program, right? Please take a screenshot. They have to make the payment and they have to confirm their seat, right? 2 more demo classes are also there, but there is a limitation, seat limitations, right? And in this batch, right, most of the right, those people who have already joined, they are working professional and they are only going through the recorded session. They are not going to attend the main session because most of the in according to Indian time, right? Most of the Indian companies are working from 9 to 6, right, or 10 to 7. So it is not feasible for them to attend the live sessions, right? So this is the reason why you can see less number of students attending the demo sessions, right? And this is the reason why I'm going to provide the recorded session, the class notes, right? Whatever presentation I'm showing, everything to everyone. Right? If anybody wants to confirm their participant in this training program, please take a screenshot of this, right? Payment details provided here. And I have already, right, provided the Telegram group. Anybody here not yet joined the Telegram group? So means everybody is joined the Telegram group, right? Good. So take a screenshot of this image, and once you make the payment, then you can share the screenshot to me, right? Using my PhonePe, right? Using my WhatsApp number, or you can also send to me using this email address. If you are NRI student, you can make the payment using PayPal or Payoneer. If you Indian student, PhonePe, Google Pay is there, bank details is there. If you NRI student, right, if you want to do wire transfer, then you can also use this bank details. Yeah, someone asking me some question. Can you please ask the
sir,
question?
sir,
Yes.
if you want to get jobs like a prestigious company, FANG likes you,
Right.
should we
See,
do beside
exactly.
this course?
Exactly. So first of all, for the bank company, right, top MNC's company, right, you need to be very good at a data structure and algorithms. That is the mandatory skill, as well as for Microsoft, C# is mandatory, right? Because most of the questions, most of the logical programs, right, they are going to ask, right, from this C# concept and the data structure and algorithms, right? How good you are into uh, data structure and algorithm, that basically defines how easily you are going to get a job in a top MNC company, right?
Okay, sir.
And apart from this, they will ask you, right, whatever the logical programming I am provided, they will ask you what is the time complexity of this program, how you can improve the time complexity. Is it good? Is it the best approach? What is the other approaches, right? Multiple questions they are going to ask. They are going to ask more questions on right C# programming language, right? I'm talking about Microsoft, right? I have not attended any other company interview. I have attended Microsoft, and I know how Microsoft is conducting. Even I'm taking also interview for Microsoft, right? So I know what are the questions I have to ask. Clear, guys?
Sir, one day please share your journey, how you joined
Sure,
Microsoft
sure,
and how you prepared yourself. Please share with
sure.
us.
Definitely. See, once this course is continue, right? Definitely, I will share my journey, right? Not only you people, but also to other batch members, right? So I will not take a whole day to explain my journey. Sometimes I will explain, yeah, this is the question you have to answer this thing, and definitely when I got some time, on not on the right, what I can say, not on this regular time, some irregular time in the weekend or right whenever there is no class. At that time I can schedule one meeting. Whoever wants to join, they can join and we can discuss. This is not only for my journey. Also, you need to explain what is your journey, what you are exactly doing, where you are working currently, how you need to improve your right work experience, how you want to increase your salary, right? All these things we can. This is going to be a friendly discussion. Not only I'm going to explain, but you also need to be participate in that session. Okay.
Okay,
And
sir.
guys, one more thing, guys. As this training program is mostly online, right? And as I know, many students, many working professionals are unable to attend the session, right? We are also having special doubt clearing sessions. Special doubt clearing session on the weekend after 2 p.m. 2 to 4 p.m. is reserved, right, for the doubt clearing. And if anybody after watching the recorded session, if he is having some doubt, he needs to ping me, and accordingly I will allocate some time slot. And in that time slot, he needs to join and he needs to clarify his or her doubts. And if the same doubt, same query by some other member also, I will allow the time slot to multiple persons, right? They can join the session and they can clarify their doubts. Okay. Any more question, guys, from anyone? Can we join .NET Core batch now? See, .NET Core batch you can join, but for that, right, you need to be very good at C#, right? So yesterday one person called me, sir, I want to join .NET Core batch, and I mean, he's not good at C#. He doesn't know that idea, right? Related to multi-threading, parallel programming, asynchronous programming, collection framework, right? So I simply said,
Hello.
I simply said no. Yes.
Sir, can you send this demo on my WhatsApp number today?
Demo on your WhatsApp number means?
Sir, 7895
No.
18
I don't understand. What I need to share on your WhatsApp number?
Hello.
Yeah, what I need to share on your WhatsApp number?
Sir, this demo, today demo only.
Today's recorded session.
Okay, yes, sir.
No, why I'm going to share to your WhatsApp number? You should join the Telegram group, right? So did you join the Telegram group?
Yes.
So I'm talking about this Telegram group. Did you join here?
Yes, sir, I joined, sir.
So I'm going to share this video here only. I'm going to upload this video here so that everybody can watch.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Right. Also, I'm going to share the this documentation, right, the course syllabus, so that you can have a look, right, whatever I'm following, right, whatever I'm explaining, whether I'm explaining all this concept or I'm skipping anything, that you can also have a look. I'm going to follow the same pattern, same structure. Whatever I'm explaining, I'm going to explain one by one. Okay. Any question, guys, from anyone? Yeah, can you join .NET Core batch? Right. See, if you are interested, then you can join. But for that, the minimum requirement is you should have good understanding of C# concepts. Because in .NET Core batch, I'm not going to explain what is multi-threading, asynchronous programming, or parallel programming, or reflection. Any C# concept, I'm not going to explain in .NET Core. .NET Core means that is purely based on .NET Core. Everything I'm going to explain in depth in .NET Core batch, right? And even if you join, if you are very good at C#, then you can join the .NET Core batch, right? Already, right, all the recorded sessions I am provided. You can start watching from the beginning. It is up to you. You named the course advanced, any prerequisites? Like, no. So why I'm saying advanced means I'm not only going to explain the basic concept in the sense why I'm saying advanced means, see, we know one concept, that is constructor, right? Constructor means those who are having experience, I'm talking to them. So if you are not providing any constructor, then compiler will provide you one constructor called a default constructor. Can you prove this? I will prove this, right? I will use some kind of tools like ILDSM. I will show you once you compile the code, how your compilation code is looks like, where the how the compiler providing that I will show you practically, right? So basically in-depth means what? Now, what exactly happening behind the scene? Those things I'm going to cover. And every concept I'm going to cover in depth. This is the reason why I'm providing this course syllabus as advanced, and I'm going to start from the very beginning to all the advanced concept, right? I'm going to show you what exactly a computer, how exactly a computer till the design patterns, right? And there is no prerequisites. Everything I'm going to cover from the beginning only. No, I'm not taking any DSA in, right? DSA I'm not taking because see, whatever the DSA functionality is provided, everything is available here only, right? For example, if you look at the collection framework, this is not only your DSA only, right? So here you are going to create a list, stack, a queue, dictionary, right? Everything is available here, right? I'm not taking any, right, separate session for DSA. Yes, I will explain you, right? Once I got some time, then definitely I will explain you what is time complexity, what is space complexity, how you can decide whether this is big of 1, big of n square, right? All these things I'm going to explain. Yeah, complexity analysis, exactly that is what I'm saying. I will take one class, right? I will explain what are exactly complexities, what is time complexity, how you can decide whether it is taking right, big of 1 or big of n or big of n square, right? That is what I'm going to explain. But don't think that I'm going to cover data structure and algorithm in detail, right? It is completely C#, right?
Hello.
Yeah. Is
Sir,
this
may I
course
know?
is suitable for complete beginners? As you means there are many working professionals. See, why many working professionals are attending? Because they are lacking with the advanced concept, right? Working professional doesn't mean they know everything, right? They are also trying to learn something new, right? They are also trying to learn the advanced concept so that they can apply those concepts in their real time, in their day-to-day activities. This is the reason why they want to enhance their skill set. And this is completely absolutely for beginners also, because if you are a beginner, then you definitely know all this concept, because whenever you are going to attend the interview, they will mostly ask you question from this, right, as a beginner. But for an experienced person, they will get question based on their project requirement, what project they are doing, how they are implement scenario based question they will get. But behind the scene, whenever, if you want to, whether you are a beginner, whether you are a fresher, if you are going to write the code, then for writing the code, you need this concept only, right? It doesn't matter whether you are a beginner or fresher. If you are a beginner, then it is the good time for you to learn this concept. Otherwise, after 10 years, again, you will come back and you will learn these things. So why I should wait for 10 years to learn this concept? Why not I start from the beginning? So it is completely for beginner as well as for experienced working professional, right? For working professional, more some of the concept they might know, right? But behind the scene story, they are going to understand, because see, whenever we are creating, we know entity framework is going to generate the insert, update, and a delete statement. But do you know how entity framework decide whether what statement I need to generate? That is what I'm going to tell. Yes, this is the scenario. By looking at these things, entity framework decide that he needs to generate the insert SQL statement. If it is generating the insert SQL statement, I will show you what exactly the SQL statement generated by SQL Server. Now, I'm not talking about the SQL profiler point of view. I'm talking from the C# point of view. In SQL profiler, you can check what SQL statement is executed on the database. But from C# application, also I'm going to show you what SQL statement is generated and executed by entity framework. Right? Those things, say transaction implementation, deadlock, right? All these are advanced concepts, and even the people do not know. If I ask you what is concurrent collection, most of the people will say we do not know what is concurrent collections, because they never used this concept. If I ask you, can we define method inside an interface? Most of the people will say we can declare the method, but we cannot provide implementation for a method inside an interface. But this concept is gone. Up to C#7, we cannot define interface with implementation, right? But from C#8, we can provide method with implementation within the interface. Right? So we need to update it ourselves with the latest right features. Okay. Any question, guys? Someone asking one question?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Ask me.
Sir, may I know when the next batch is start for .NET Core API, Web
See,
API.
.NET, see, there is no specific batch for me .NET Core Web API, right? So my .NET Core API means, .NET Core means it is the combination of four things. One, I'm going to explain the basic concept, which is applicable for all the different kind of a .NET Core Web application, irrespective, right? .NET Core Web application means those concept is applicable to core MVC, core Web API, core Azure Pages, right? And then I'm going to discuss entity framework core in detail, right? Entity framework core, code first approach, database first approach. Then I'm going to discuss MVC concept, and then I'm going to discuss Web API concept, right? And some of the concept, right, like routing, action result, identity, these are going to be common. So again, common means I'm going to explain only once. Right? Because if you are going to implement a ASP.NET identity is going to be same in MVC as well as in Web API. Yes, in Web API, something we can enhance the identity functionality like JWT token. So those things I'm going to explain, right? But there is no specific ASP.NET Core Web API. Right? It is the combination of .NET Core where I'm going to explain MVC plus Web API. Clear? Okay. Any more question, guys? Guys?
Yes, I have a question. So for tomorrow, it's gonna be another different class, right? You're not gonna start
Yes.
all over again with the index. Okay.
Yes. Tomorrow we are going to start chapter 1.
Oh, sounds good. Thank you.
So have we got two other demo classes
Mr.
after this?
Sorry.
Have we got two other demo classes after this, or is it only one demo class?
So there are two more demo classes. Yes, tomorrow is a demo class. Again, the same 9:30 to 11. And day after tomorrow is another demo class. So once the demo classes, two more demo classes completed, from Saturday or main classes are going to be started. But don't think that
Okay.
demo classes means I'm going to explain the same concept again in main classes. So from tomorrow only the main session is going to start. For you
Okay.
guys, it is demo classes, but for me, everything is main classes.
So when
Is
are you
that
expecting
class?
the payment then? Are you expecting
Sorry?
the payment? Are you expecting the payment before Saturday
Yes.
then?
Yeah. Before Saturday, if you want to join, then you need to make the payment. And already 48 students have already made the payment. And this batch strength is going to be maximum of 100 students. And I generally take one batch with 100 students. And currently the group what you are seeing, this is not the original group, right? This is for the demo purpose, right? Once the demo classes are completed, the main group is going to be started. Like the way if you see, where is my ASP.NET Core, right? So this is my original batch. You can see 100 members. And here you can see every day I'm going to upload the recorded session as the corresponding document. So this is the recorded session, the corresponding document. Recorded session, the corresponding document. So this is how I'm going to provide. And apart from these things, right? And for each batch, I'm going to create a discussion group. Discussion group means where anybody can ask anything, and whoever wants to answer, right? They can answer. Even I'm also going to answer the same question, right? Suppose today someone asked me one question, right? So, like this. I was trying to create an SQL. I created a button, but while I'm trying, I'm not getting the data. How I can fix this, right? If anybody able to answer this question, that is fine. Otherwise, I'm here to answer this. Then I give my answer and I check this thing, and then I ask, right, whether it is working fine or not. And he saying yes, it is working fine. So this is how this training group is going to be completed. In this group, I am only going to provide the recorded session and the class notes. Nobody have access to do anything within this group. And this ASP.NET Core, right, like this, I'm going to create two more groups where in one group, I'm going to provide the recorded session and class notes so that it will be in a proper sequence and no extra write text messages into that group. And another group where if you have any question, any right queries, any doubt, you can ping and you can ask. Even though if you want to share some interview tips, interview question, right, you can also share your experience here. And this is open to everyone. Everyone can share their thoughts. Similarly,
Okay.
so this .NET Core .NET group where 350 members are there, this is only for the demo purpose. right? And I will share the new credential, right? I will add you to the new Telegram group, right? For those members who have already joined the session, right? So once you join the session, right, this Telegram group is no longer going to be used. I'm not going to share anything into this Telegram group. Yes, for the demo purpose, for the demo sessions, I'm going to share the data. Once the main session started, the main group will come into the picture where I'm going to provide the content as well as the videos. Clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Right? Is the class time is fixed? Can we start a bit earlier? Hey, what I'm saying, I'm taking two batches. One is from 7 to 9, and that is from Monday to Friday. That is ASP.NET Core. According to Indian Standard Time, I'm talking. And before starting the new batch, see why I'm keeping a 30 minutes gap, because sometimes the class is not completed on time. So I'm giving the time as 7 to 9 for the .NET Core, but sometimes it will proceed to 9, 10, 9, 15, 9, 20 like this. So I need some at least 10, 15 minutes gap before starting the new batch. And guys, remember, my batch timing is means timing means what means if I'm saying I'm going to start the session at 9:30 means today the demo classes I'm taking 5 minutes starting the session after 5 minutes, right? But once the main session started, the timing is fixed. I'm saying 9:30 means the session is going to start exactly at 9:30, but I'm saying 9:30 to 11. At 11 might be 11:15, might be 11:30 also, might be 10:45, so something like this. So the timing is fixed. 3 weekdays, right? It is 9:30 to 11, and 2 weekends. Weekends, if you guys are interested, we can change the weekend timing, because weekend is I'm completely free and available, right? If any suitable time, if most number of students are interested in a different time rather than 7 to 10, I'm open. I'm available. Clear, guys? Okay. Right?
Yes.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. Any more question, guys, from anyone? Shall we complete the session? And guys, please take this screenshot. Whoever wants to join and confirm their seat, right? They can make the payment and share the screenshot to me. Because as I told you again and again, the seat limitation is 100 members maximum. Already 48 members have already joined. Right? And it is going to be fast come, fast serve. Whoever confirm the seat first, he will get a chance to attend the regular session. Main session completely free for everyone, but regular session means you need to register. You need to pay the fee. Right? And if anybody interested for partial payment, they can contact me, right? I will want to discuss, then we will decide what best possible option to do the partial payment. Right? And guys, remember, this is going to be completely industry oriented. Industry oriented in the sense, every concept I'm going to explain in depth, right? And out of those 45 students, 30 almost 30 students are coming from my ASP.NET Core. From my ASP.NET Core, they join this batch. They are unable, they are not going to attend the live session, but they are going to watch the recorded session, because they know, right? Once they attend the regular .NET Core classes, they know where they are lacking, right? So once you attend the session, definitely it will change your coding standard. Definitely it will help you to write robust and performance oriented code. And also you will understand many additional tools like tools like how you can make use of ILS, DSM, ILSM, right? Profiler. So all these things I'm going to show you, right? What are the different third-party tools? Even in this session, I'm going to add Git, right? How you can make use of a Git repository to push your code, how other can view your code, how they can download, how you can then, right? All those things also I'm going to discuss in this training program. Clear, guys? Yeah. I hope there is no more questions. So can we stop the session?
Yes.
Okay.
So my question again is based on the payment. Hello, can you hear me?
Sorry?
Yeah, my question is based on the payment. what if one kind of fully afforded ones? Is it possible to break it for the payment?
So payment means what I'm saying, right? So these are the payment options. So you are from outside of India, right?
Yes, yes.
So do you have PayPal or Payoneer account?
No, no.
So then what you can do is you can do wise transfer, right? So there is something called wise. You can open your account, and this is my account details, right? What you need to do, right? Whatever the amount I have provided here, 10,000 INR, just convert that amount into into your currency, and that currency you can transfer to my bank details like this. Whatever the details I have provided, wise transfer is option available. So just Google it, and you will get to know what is wise.
Okay, okay.
Right. So once you make the payment, right, then you can share the screenshot, right? And once you share the screenshot, I will take your name, email, and mobile number, and I will add you to the main Telegram group.
Okay.
Clear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more question, guys, from anyone? Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time, and hope to see you tomorrow again.
Thank
Bye.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Anshu, please stop your video while attending the session.